Welcome, friends, to Empowered Negotiating, landing your dream salary. Now, I'm so excited to present this to you because I'm your coach, Jesse De Silva, and I am not a natural negotiator. This is something I learned from repeatedly screwing myself out of money. Like, let me repeat that for you. I have screwed myself out of so much money over the years. Now I've done the research it takes and had the experience of figuring out a system that works for everyone. Okay, so why is salary negotiation so scary? Well, I will tell you, it is because we build it up in our heads, first of all. We always think it's a lot scarier than it is. We imagine the worst case scenarios. So when we decide to start negotiating, we just imagine they're going to like laugh in our faces, tell us like, you're such an idiot, all of those things. But it's not the case. It's always worse when it comes to like reality. Finally, well, not finally, there's two more bullet points. We don't believe we can actually make the amount of money we desire. That could be because you're a new graduate. It could be because you work in the nonprofit sector and you feel like there's just no money to be made there, or you've just never done it before, right? Like it's always scary to do something for the first time. Think about the first time like you like learned to ride a bicycle, or the first time that you made friends. Like, okay, that might be going way back, but think of something you've done recently as an adult and like how scary it was, or like just things like that. So I'm going to take a second because I want to like see what you guys consider as the scariest thing. So I want to know. Yeah, thanks, Holly. Holly helped me with the Zoom thing. I want to know what you guys see as the scariest thing about negotiating. If you feel comfortable, please put it in the chat. I just want to take a moment and like make sure that I'm on task with everything. So please like tell me in the chat what's like the scariest thing. I'm back on the screen now, but we'll go back to the PowerPoint. What is the thing that scares you most about salary negotiation? Because I'm going to make sure I hit on all those points today. So take a moment. I'll say that for me, when I first started this, the thing I was most scared about is that they would revoke their job offer. That's what I was afraid would happen if I asked for more money. That I would say like, okay, well, I was expecting to make X amount of money. And they would basically be like, well, fuck you. Anybody who wants more money doesn't need this job. They can go fuck right off. So I want to hear from you guys. What's the scariest thing about negotiating your salary? Put it in the chat box, please. We're not moving on until I get some participation. Let's go. Time to wake up, friends. Holly, afraid of pricing myself out of a job. Absolutely. It's a huge fear. And we're going to talk about that too. How about anybody else? Jen, Kelly, Arlene, Katie. You guys, I want to know your fears. Because this content, Katie, the same thing you said, my salary was cut down by 35% because sales were down. I wasn't commissioned based. I quit that stupid job last year. Good for you, Katie. Fuck them. All right. And for those of you who don't know, I'm a potty mouth, so welcome. Jen, afraid of getting pushback and not knowing how to counter. It's all just confidence. Yes. Kelly, afraid that they'll decide to go with a different candidate who wasn't asking as much. Yep. These are all very real fears. And that's what stops us in our tracks. But what's more powerful than like fear is confidence in yourself. And that's not just confidence in the process of asking for negotiation. That's confidence in you as a candidate. So something I want to talk about before we get going. Okay, Katie also says, exactly, still looking for the new one as I'm overqualified for many and don't have usable references now. Yeah, okay, so basically, the way we look at this, like I'm already so hyped, guys. Yeah, you have to understand that you are a fucking badass, a badass confident woman who can do the job. All right. And this goes for anybody who's looking this, whether you're a man or non-binary. You deserve this job. You know you can do the job. Okay. You have to stay in that. The problem is that we have built up employers in our minds over time to think that they're the ones who determine if we're worth money at all. And they're not. We're the ones who determine like whether we're worth being paid. And we are. Okay. Like payment is your fucking birthright. Okay. That's the mindset I want you to get into, because that is what is going to get you noticed. I'm not talking about having a chip on your shoulder, and I'm not talking about being arrogant. I'm talking about that quiet confidence where you're like, I know I can do this job. I know I can move ahead. Like, I know that I will be the best person for it. That's really what this is about. When you know that about yourself, you come at it with like a much different level of confidence, because you have to be willing to walk away from things if they're not a right fit. That is how we connect, not just with a dream job, but a dream salary. So on that note, let's get back into this. Yep, that's what I'm doing. Thanks, Zoom. Got it. All right. Back to the present button. Here we go. So I'm going to touch on all the things we asked about today. The next thing, never give the first number. This is our tip. Why? It's a lose-lose situation. Like Holly said, you risk pricing yourself out of an interview or even the job itself, and you can screw yourself out of more money. So basically what employers are asking you to do is guess what their budget is, which is really unfair. You don't have access to that information. There's no way, no matter how much research you do, you're never going to find out how much money they have for this position. Even if they're a nonprofit and you can look up, oh, their budget is X amount, you don't know if they've created this job from a new grant. You don't know how much that grant was. You don't know if they created this job because they had a bump in sales that you can't find yet. So I don't want you thinking like you can't give the number, because there's no way you're going to be able to guess correctly. So keep that in mind. Do not give the first number. And there are tons of ways to avoid this, and we're going to get to them. But I really need to drive this point home, that it's about like negotiating starts from the beginning. Asking for more money, we're going to tackle some of the mindset stuff. This is not just a form of self-care. It's the professional thing to do. When an employer is hiding the salary on a job, it's because they're hoping you're going to undervalue yourself. And I'm not saying that's everybody, but that's going to be more often than not. This is going to be especially true with with like companies and organizations that have limited budgets and limited funds. So we're talking about nonprofits, startups, anything like that. It's like right now, the way jobs go, like how people post jobs and ask about salaries, it's not in your favor. So the other thing to keep in mind is that negotiating is part of running a business, okay? Like this is just something that comes with the territory. So someone who is managing you should be expected to negotiate. Imagine if businesses found negotiating unprofessional. How would they ever negotiate deals with partners, right? So if they can do it with vendors, contractors, their landlords, if they can negotiate in all these other aspects of running a business, they can do it with you. It comes with the territory. And that leads me to make a point, which is that if they are acting weird about you negotiating, it's a red flag, okay? We want to be in a place that is professional and treats people with respect. So if they're going to act unprofessional during the salary negotiation process, that is a red flag for how that organization is run. So with that, I'm going to give you some more things to think about. Minorities are more at risk. There is a huge wealth gap in America. And something I found was a report. It's not this report that I'm quoting here, which is from the McKinsey I think McKinsey and Partners or something, but they're a think tank, and they did research on the wealth gap in America. And they found these huge discrepancies between the income of white families and black families. DC Policy Center highlights this in a way that really shows that the problem itself is not showing salaries on jobs, which means that you need to negotiate. So in DC is kind of like actually the perfect little petri dish for looking at all of America, in the sense that it's, first of all, it's one of the most racially diverse places. It's also one of the most segregated. Generally, a lot of rich white people live in Northwest DC, whereas a lot of like lower income and black residents live in Southeast. It is literally right across the quadrants. And what they found is that there is less, and okay, backing up, because DC has so many public sector jobs, we have a perfect comparison on wealth inequality and income disparity between races in DC. So what they found is it's pretty split here between public sector jobs, government jobs, and private sector jobs. And what DC Policy Center found was that for public sector jobs, so government jobs where they're required to disclose the salary ranges, there is less of an income gap between minorities and women plus white men. It's so significant that it is wild. So that's the thing I want you to keep in mind. If you are Latina, I'll say Latinx, like if you are Latinx, if you are black, if you are Asian, if you are anything other than white, you need to negotiate. If you're a woman, you need to negotiate. Something else I want you to consider as women see multiple pay cuts over time. So if you think about, like, consider having a family. A woman experiences pay cuts over time for every child she has. So I know not everybody here is planning on that, but it's something to keep in mind. This is just one example. And pay cuts that we take affect us over time. So if you take a pay cut or you fail to negotiate your salary, you're starting off on a lower on a lower level of footing in the next job that you make. And so I want you to think about that as well. When you're negotiating your salary, you're putting yourself on a lifetime path for earnings. Also consider Social Security. If you have a lower income and you don't negotiate, you're losing out on your retirement benefits in the future. So think about that as well. Negotiating the salary starts with the application. It starts from the very beginning. So the ways that we get around this. How to avoid giving a number 101. When you have an application where you need to give a number, you're going to provide a fake number to fill it out. What does a fake number look like, you ask? It looks like 11111. It looks like 99999. So it's something that's so obviously fake that they know it can't be your actual asking number. When they ask you, so you're probably going to get pushback, especially if you put this in a form. Expect the pushback, embrace the pushback, because it's all practice, and it allows you to put yourself in a different category of applicant. It makes you come off as confident and knowing what you're worth. So when they ask you, okay, well, we really do need a number, and this is likely what's going to happen in a phone screening when they want to bring you in, or this is something you can put in a cover letter if it requires you to disclose a salary range in a cover letter. You'll say, I'll accept any reasonable offer. And this is going to become your mantra throughout the entire salary negotiation practice and the whole process of this. I'll accept any reasonable offer. This is something I want you to practice with your most abrasive family member or friend. Find someone who really rubs you the wrong way that you're still forced to love because they're in your life, and have them and tell them, I want you to get me to give you a number, and I want you to be the biggest asshole about it and do whatever you can to get me to share it. And then don't do it, okay? These are the other things you can say when there's pushback. So when they say, okay, that's really cute that you want to accept any reasonable offer, but seriously, what's your salary range? You say, honestly, my work environment and job duties are what matter the most for me. So as long as it's reasonable for my skills and experience, I'll accept it. That's keeping it sufficiently vague, but you're still telling them, you're still not giving a number, and you're still telling them, it's another nice way to say, I'll accept any reasonable offer. If they come back after that and they're like, okay, that's so wonderful, but like, I really need a number, ask, what's the range for the position? Put it back on them. This is something where it's an opportunity for you to see, is this going to be a good fit for me or not? Because if they come back from this, I've had a friend tell me that they asked this question and the person said to them, well, that's doing it backwards. Like, I'm not supposed to tell you, you're supposed to tell me. Fucking run, okay? Because the way they're going to act over salary negotiating is how they're going to act when you're on staff. So I want you to keep that in mind. If they're that unwilling to disclose the information, it's because they're looking to take advantage of you. And we are no longer in the position of being taken advantage of, okay? So another way they're going to try and get around this is to ask about your current or past salary. And this is something that's going to work for everyone unless you're in a government job or a high earning nonprofit job where you have to disclose that. But I'm assuming if you're on this call, you're probably not making your ideal salary at a nonprofit. So you say, and this is, I don't care if you didn't do it, but generally most companies, when you sign a contract, there's a non-disclosure. Maybe not an entire non-disclosure agreement, but there's going to be a non-disclosure clause in your contract saying you can't talk about special projects that go on. Most organizations have this. So it's not that you're lying, it's that you are just telling them you're abiding by something you already signed. And I guarantee if you go look at the contract you signed, there's at least one clause in there saying not to disclose any information on ongoing projects and things like that. So I want you to say, unfortunately, I signed a non-disclosure agreement and salaries are considered proprietary information. So that's the way you're going to handle it. And I guarantee you've signed that at almost every single job, unless it's been like some kind of service-based job where there was not a contract signed, you just kind of came on. But it's something you can still use. I would still use it anyway. Now, the only person this isn't going to work for are government employees. So if you're working at a government organization where your salary is public record, the way I want you to handle this is by talking about the salary you're expecting if you stay. Because generally speaking, you're going to get at least a cost of living adjustment, if not like a bump up, especially if you're in a federal system, you're going to get an increase in your salary that year. If you're not, fudge it. You deserve it. And if you're not getting that new job, you better be asking for a raise. So I want you to say like, okay, basically, if I'm staying in this position, I would be expecting to make this after my next employee review, basically. So I want you to talk about like the number that you're expecting to make next, and that number can be your ideal salary. And when I say ideal salary, I want it to be $10,000 over what you feel comfortable asking. Why? We naturally lowball ourselves. If you don't feel comfortable asking for money, it's because you feel like no one's going to give it to you. So the way to challenge that is making the number 10K over what you feel comfortable asking for, because that's probably closer to what you should be making, or should want to be making at least. And then this drives home the point I just said, which is like how an organization handles this negotiation is going to be better than asking for a raise. Something to keep in mind is that it costs on average an employer $9,000 to fill an open position. And how is that figure calculated? It's calculated by the time people have to take off of their normal job duties to interview candidates. It's also how much, like all the resources they have to invest in posting a job, in potentially hiring a recruiter, all of those things. It leads to about $9,000 to fill the job. So the reason we're delaying the number is because we want to get to the point where we have all the say. If you get to the state where they believe now that you're the best person for the job, you're the one with all the power, because they don't want to spend another $9,000 to fill that job. You're going to encounter a few tricks though with employers on how they don't want to, like, how they're going to try and talk you down from even asking for more money. You'll see this likely in the interview process, potentially like in the recruiting process before that. The first thing, we have a great benefits package. Oh, that's so wonderful. Well, guess what? I don't care, because benefits are your God-given right as an employee. Nobody's going to work for fun, all right? We're doing this because we want to be able to eat food and enjoy our lives. You deserve health care, paid time off, sick leave, retirement options, and you deserve to get paid. Oh, whoops, there's a typo there. Whoops. Anyway, I want, like, these things are not mutually exclusive. Do not feel like just because they have good benefits that they can get away with not paying you what you deserve. And if honestly, if these things were truly like that, like as negotiable as salary was, you'd be able to negotiate your benefits. And I do tell people, like, if they're really not willing to budge on money, you can try and negotiate paid time off. But the problem is that most of these organizations have some kind of company handbook that requires a certain amount of paid time off for people at different levels. So if it's truly negotiable, if it's truly going to be akin to salary, you should be able to negotiate it. And if they're not going to negotiate it, then it's not worth it, okay? Like, you also, like, you're still paying for your benefits. It comes out of your paycheck. So if you have more money, then you won't be as affected by the amount that comes out for your benefits. So please keep that in mind. You are paying for those benefits, okay? Like, if you decide to take advantage of a 401k plan, you're going to do a lot better with that if you have more income coming. Also, like, go try to pay with your health insurance at the grocery store. Let's see how that goes. This is another thing to consider. Benefits do cut your pay because they come out of what you're paying. You're paying for this shit. And this is a great article, which I will happily send along. But, like, literally, your pay, like, you are unaware. Like it says here, she's unaware of how much her compensation is being eaten up by healthcare costs and how much the share will grow as long as the increase in health costs exceeds growth in the gross domestic product. That's just math, okay? Keep this in mind. Benefits are not good enough to overcome lower level pay. The other main trick you're going to see is, well, you'll be eligible for a raise in a year, in 6 months, in, like, at your next employee review. I don't have a high opinion of employers, as you can tell, but most of the time it's a lie. If it's not a lie, then it's at the very least an exaggeration. And why is that? Like, why do you need to be wary of this? Because you're in totally different circumstances once you have a job versus when you're negotiating the salary. Remember, it costs $9,000 on average to fill this position. They don't want to start this process over. So you actually have all the power in the recruiting process. They do not, especially if you're the top applicant, especially if you've gone through the interview and you rocked it, because now they don't want to go to their next person, even if they're willing to take less money. They're already hooked on you. But when you're already working for them, it's the opposite. They have you hooked. You can't just get up and leave a job. You have to go through the entire job hunting process again. So they know that if you're unhappy, you can't just get up and walk out. I mean, I argue that you can, and I have done that, but you don't, like, generally most people can't just up and leave a job. They need to line something up first. So consider who has the power in the job hunting process. It's you. You as the top applicant, you as the qualified person, you as the one who knows that you can fix all their problems. Don't let them tell you that you're going to be eligible for a raise. Because the other thing here is that a lot of things can change in that amount of time. And they might not be willing to offer it to you anymore. I believe it was Katie who said earlier, saying that she basically, like, the company went through, like, a blip in their sales. And so in response, like, she wasn't commission based, so her pay got chopped. That's something that can happen. If you start off at a higher salary, it's going to be much easier to weather that storm and to deal with, like, someone not increasing your pay than it is if you accept the lower end. And the other thing to keep in mind too is that starting off on a higher salary, okay, cool. I still want the amount of money that I'm asking for, and then I still want to be reevaluated in a year or two. Okay, like you have even that's even more of an option to get more money. So, best case scenario, you're going to get another raise in a year or two. Worst case scenario, you're protecting yourself from an asshole boss who doesn't want to give it to you in a year. The other thing that goes into this is doing your research. Your confidence will grow so much the more that you know about the industry, the organization, and yourself as an applicant. Some of the research that comes from this is knowing how much your company or organization brings in. So you are going to feel a lot better asking for more money when you realize this organization is bringing in like a company is bringing in $1 billion in profit every year. You're going to feel a lot better asking for more money as a nonprofit if you look at the 1099 disclosure online, which is public record. You can look at that through guidestar.org, create a free account, and you can find any 1099 form for a nonprofit. It will show you the salaries of the highest earners there. So it'll show you the executive director. It'll show you this, like if they have a CFO or if they have people who are like at the top vice presidents, if it's a larger organization. If it's smaller, you'll get to see even more. So check the salaries for the highest employees. Not only will that give you an idea of what people are making there, you'll feel a lot more confident. If like the executive director is making 200 grand at an organization, yeah, you're going to feel a lot better being like, yeah, I don't want even close to that. I just need something that reflects my qualifications. Glassdoor is a great resource, glassdoor.com. You may not be able to find salaries for your exact position at that exact company, but you'll be able to see salary like comparable salaries based on your location. Sometimes this can vary wildly. Second, my lord. Fourth, there's an organization called 81 Cents, and it's a company that will give you a report based on like what you expect to make or what an offer is. They'll turn it over overnight. They'll get professionals in your industry to evaluate your offer based on your location and your level of experience. And the report, I believe it's like $100 or so. So it's a great tool to have on hand in case you're in that desperate place. I don't think you need to jump right to that. I think you can find all the information you need, but it's a great tool to have in your back pocket. I will disclose that I have there's an affiliation program I'm a part of, but again, I think that's a last resort if you feel really confused. The other thing, like talk to colleagues in your network, see what they're asking. The only way we can break down glass ceilings and the only way we can make more money is by talking about money more openly. I know it sounds like it's in poor taste, but like this is your livelihood on the line. Get comfortable with being like making people uncomfortable. Just ask them. Ask them, what do you make? And especially ask your male colleagues if you're a woman, especially ask your white colleagues if you are a minority, okay? It's like you have to protect yourself. But knowing all of this is going to give you more confidence in the ask. And that's really what that's about. Now, here's how to handle the offer. I have a formula that I use for this. And it is a specific formula. And it is designed to make them the ones who are nervous. Because remember, by the time you get an offer, you have all the leverage. They don't want to spend another $9,000 finding another candidate. So this is the formula that I actually used to get a nonprofit to come up by $11,000 from their original offer. And for those of you wondering, the original offer was $76,000, and I got them to come up to $87,500. A nonprofit, friends, okay? It can be done. So they're going to give you the offer. And they're going to be like, oh my God, I'm so excited. Like, we loved you. We think you're great. We want to bring you on, yada, yada, yada. And we want to bring you on at $76,000. They say that, and this is what I want you to do. This is what the silence sounds like. Literally, it's uncomfortable. but I want you to be silent for a second. And then I want you to repeat the number back to them like you're a little wary. You don't have to go as far as disappointed unless you are. If you're disappointed, allow them to hear that disappointment. So this is what it's going to say. Like, and then you're going to repeat the number. So they're going to say, "We're so excited to offer you the position at $76,000." And you say, $76,000? And then they're going to be like, immediately, they're going to want to shit their pants because they're like, oh God, I just offended this person. That's how you want to do it. Ask it back like it's a question. Ask it back like you're wary, like you don't trust them. Like you need to do that. Like allow them to feel uncomfortable because guess what? They have no problem making you feel uncomfortable. So do it right back to them. And if you want to counter with a number, which remember, this your counter needs to be $10,000 higher than what you feel comfortable asking for. So the way you're going to respond to that is saying, well, based on my research, for someone with my level of experience, I was expecting to make around, and what I said was $95,000. Friends, I wasn't expecting to make $95,000. Okay. Like I wasn't. And saying that, I felt like I wanted to shit my pants. Like I was so scared to do that. But it's necessary. You still need to ask that. So that's the formula of how you're going to handle it because generally they're going to get really nervous that they're going to lose you. So from start to finish, they're going to say like, all right, we're so excited for you to offer you the position at 76,000. And then you pause. 76,000? And they'll be like, "Oh, yeah, is that okay? Like is that like is that what you were expecting?" And then you go, "Well, based on my research, for someone with my level of experience, I was expecting to make more like 95,000 with this next career move." And then they'll immediately go into like, oh my God, like, okay. Well, yeah, they'll either be like, well, we can't do that, but let me see what I can do. Or they'll be like, oh, wow, well, I know for a fact the highest we can come up is to 80. Like they might do something like that. And then what I want you to do is take time to think. Well, I appreciate the offer. I'm going to need a day to think about it. So you want to put them into the hot seat because remember, now you're the one with all the leverage. So that's the thing I want you to think about. You're the one with all the leverage now, and now you're going to make them afraid to lose you because they're hooked on you. That's the formula. That's how you do it. So with all that being said, we are going to move to question and answers. But so if you have any, please start sharing those with me. Oh, let me stop the share here. I'm back. Hi, I'm back. Forgot I was on the camera here. I want us to like go into Q&A, but first I'm going to talk to you a bit about the program that I have going on. And I see like we've had lots of conversation here. I'm so excited to review it. But what I'm going to say is that like so this is just one of the things that I teach in my job hunting program called Curate Your Career. And what Curate Your Career does is it's half actionable steps and half manifestation and spirituality practice to basically connect you with your dream job at your dream salary within 90 days. And I stand by that because the people I worked with one-on-one in the days before I was a coach and in the beginning of this practice, that's how I was able to help them connect with their dream jobs at the salaries they were expecting. The things we cover in that is networking your way to a job. So you will not be sending out cold job applications anymore. So that's the one thing. You're going to be out of that. Like you won't have to be resume and that cover letter sparkling. The other thing is that you will get either interview coaching from me or salary negotiation coaching from me. So just like you got this presentation today, you'll get to watch more videos on the topics, and then you'll schedule with me. We'll do a one-on-one practice session where you're not just like in interview coaching, you're not just practicing answering questions. You're going to practice asking your employer questions, because you should be getting the answers you need to avoid toxic work environments and to avoid getting back into a position where you're not making the money you want, you're not getting the respect you want, like, and it's just all around not the dream job that you want. So that's what we do. And for those of you who don't know, I'm an intuitive coach, so I have psychic abilities, which means that you get a reading and a life coaching session at the beginning and the end, which is really fun. It is my favorite thing that I do. So you will get resources to work on during the 90 days of this program, and that are like books, podcasts, tactics that you need to think about, like personal development, all of that stuff. That's what you get in that reading. It's going to be so uplifting. Most people walk away feeling so much lighter just from that. It's a truly transformative experience, and it's my favorite thing that I do. And then finally, you're getting a community of job seekers. So you get them around you, people who are in the same position as you, who can help you through the process and like love and support you in a way that people who aren't job hunting or aren't unhappy with their careers can't. Because it's like, I love my friends, but like whenever I've been job hunting and they're not, they're like, you're beautiful and amazing, and like it's gonna happen, like just be patient, wait till you're not looking for it, whatever. And you're like, cool, thanks, that doesn't help me. So with that, like that's good. That is my program, Curate Your Experience. If you're confused about it or you're curious, book a call with me. Like, I'm happy to talk about it. And I also offer one-on-one coaching, and I offer that reading by itself. And I stand by my 90-day quote so much that if you do not have a dream job level lead at the end of it and you've done everything you needed to do by the end, then you will get 90 days of Voxer support from me. So you will have a career coach in your back pocket to help you answer emails, to help you with your targeted networking plan, all of that. Okay, with that note, I'm going to move on to these questions here that we have in the chat. And I'm going to read them aloud for the people who are going to be watching the replay. Let's see. Says like they want to pay everyone as little as possible. Yeah. And here's the thing. Oh, give it a second. Okay. I think the volume's back. A lot of the time, like we don't realize that right now is actually a job hunter's market. And like, it doesn't feel that way. Why? Because we're applying to jobs online. And like, of course, it doesn't feel like a job hunter's market, because how are most jobs filled? By referral. So if those jobs that are online can't get referred, why? Why don't coworkers want to refer their friends there? Probably because it's a shitty work environment. Let's see. Katie, wow, just like paying me lots of compliments. Arlene asked, won't you offend them if you go up 20K more than what they offered? If you offend them, you better walk away, because that is not a professional organization. It's not offensive to ask for money. Part of running a company, part of running a nonprofit is salary negotiation. That's just how it works. You can't start a company without expecting to negotiate salaries. And if they're going to make you feel bad about it, it's because they don't want to pay you what you're worth. I'm telling you, like, if they're going to be offended by that, they're going to be offended when you have new ideas. They're going to be offended when you ask for a raise, and they're going to be offended when you like don't give your entire life to them and you actually have boundaries and require a work-life balance. I'm telling you, you're going to encounter the same If it's in the range of what you find acceptable and you want that amount of money, take it. Then go ahead. Like if it's not your, but I also believe that if you have a dream salary where you're like, my next move, I want to be making a minimum of $85,000. I'm not taking any less than that. I don't care if you're making 40K right now. If in your mind you're saying 85K is the least amount that I'm taking, I'm not taking more than that, and they say, well, the most we can come up is 80, walk, because two reasons. One, it means that you're still free for that 85K job to come through. And you are communicating through your energy, like through that decision. You're like, I'm not trifling, universe, higher power, whatever you believe in. Like, I'm not trifling. You send me a job at 85K or I'm not taking it because I don't settle anymore. That's the first thing. The second thing is that sometimes they come back. Sometimes they'll find the money. If they truly want you and this is truly your dream job, they'll find the money. They'll say, "Oh, well, that sucks. Wasn't expecting that, but okay, have a nice life." And then a few days later, maybe you get a call and they're like, "Okay, actually, we really want you. We want you at 85." So, what happens if they give you a salary range like 55, 65K? How do you negotiate that? If that's outside of the range of what you want, then and they're saying that, then just save yourself the time and come out of it. Unless like you're saying like, okay, if my ideal salary is like kind of within that range or it's 5, maybe like 5 to 10K over that, you can try, but generally it's better not to waste your time because remember, this is about finding our dream salary and not settling for anything less. So don't take anything less from that. All right. Does anybody else have any questions? Because that's what I have here. And I want to make sure everyone gets their questions answered. Arlene says, thank you so much for all of this. My pleasure, Arlene. Like I have screwed myself out of money way too much. It is like my mission in life to make sure that everybody out there, men, women, non-binary, white people, black people, everybody gets paid what they deserve. I don't have a high belief of employers and bosses, okay? And there are exceptions to the rule. I believe that. Like there are definitely good employers out there, but the average right now in developed nations are capitalistic, full of greed and looking to take advantage of you. Okay? Like that's really what it comes down to. And so like I don't want you settling for anything less. The only way we change that dynamic in our culture is by refusing to accept less. Okay. Kelly says, if a person is job hunting in a different state, different city, because of personal reasons, family, etc., should the candidate ask if relocation costs will be covered early on, or is it assumed that moving is the individual's responsibility? That's a great question. Ask. There's no harm in asking. Why not? I mean, like if that's important to you, here's the thing. You have to decide whether that's a non-negotiable for you. If you truly can't afford to move without that, then like don't budge. Okay? Like you just have to decide like what's important to me. Is it important to me to like get my ideal salary and the relocation costs, or is it important to me to get the salary and I can like figure out the relocation costs? Always ask because you never know what's going to happen. For example, like, and I wrote this in my email. So if you saw that email this morning around like 11 a.m., I had a client who got a job offer that was already double her salary. But I tell everyone, you negotiate anyway. I don't care if the original offer is already double what you were expecting. You still negotiate for 10K over. If it's already met your salary requirements, still negotiate for the 10K because you have no idea what they're going to say. So you still go through the same formula I said. Pause, repeat the number, and then say, based on my experience, I was expecting to be, for someone with my level of experience and qualifications, I was expecting to be making $10,000 over this. And then my client, like, she got it. They gave it to her. It blew her mind. So not only did she get double salary, like double her salary in the initial offer, she got an additional 10K that she would not have gotten if she didn't know to negotiate no matter what. And I'll give you a bonus answer, Kelly. If you're planning to move, pick a day, pick a date, Make sure that you just do it. Like it can be 3 months out or whatever, but just you'll have more luck if you just move. And also make sure that on your resume you're using like your family or friend's address that's local. If you don't have anybody local, find an apartment complex and use that address. Yeah. I'm telling you, like use an address that's local. It will help you get seen. It'll help you get seen a lot faster. I've been so hyped. I haven't had like any of my coffee, which you can probably tell because of all the stumbling today. Okay, I want to hear, does anybody else have questions? Because right now Arlene, it's been Arlene and Kelly and Katie. So I want to make sure. Jen, do you have questions? Holly, do you have questions? Because I'm here. I'm here and I want to answer them. And I'm not going to go anywhere until all those questions get answered. Okay? Does your advice change if interning for an internal promotion? That's brilliant. I wouldn't. Your sound is cutting in and out. Hope the replay will be better. Ah, I'm so sorry. Okay. I have shitty Comcast internet and it's like a monopoly. So this is, oh no, it's been this way the whole time. Well, hopefully the recording will be better. But if you had if you have any questions of like something you didn't hear me say, yeah, it helps to close other windows, Skype when you are on this. Yeah, let me just like close them out for the rest of this. Kind of hard because I was showing my presentation. Okay. Everything's closed out and I disconnected all my devices from the Wi-Fi. It's just shitty Comcast. But anyway, okay, back to with the internal promotions. So, if you have a good relationship with your boss, ask them what they're expecting, ask what's happening with it, like if they have any inside info. If it's like a lateral move or to another department, like ask the people in that department, like, what are you guys making? What can I expect? Like, I'm interested, but I don't want to go in blind here. I would still ask. I'd still go through the same formula. Like, I'd still ask the same question. What's the worst that's going to happen? They're going to say no. And guess what? If they revoke a job from you for asking for money, then you should fucking leave. That's not a good place to be working. It means they don't value you. Does that answer your question, Jen? Does that help? And I want to give everyone a chance to ask questions, especially if my volume was cutting in and out, my sound was cutting in and out. I want to make sure that everybody gets their questions answered. Jen says, yes, that helps. Good. Good, 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 friend. Holly, Katie, and Arlene, I know you said that my sound was cutting in and out. Are references important? Katie asks, are references important these days from your experience? Shall I use a friend? Why not? They don't all have, like, here's the thing. Some of us have left on bad terms. I'm one of those. There was a point where I did not have good references, like job references. So what you can do, why not a coworker? If you have a decent coworker who is a friend, like you can ask them. They don't call them from my experience. They may not. I've straight up had a friend who like knows my work ethic, be a reference. I've had friends use me, especially when we were graduating law school. I had friends who like I had collaborated with like on projects and stuff. Like we all had Esquire after our names at that point. So I said, yeah, tell me what you want me to say. Tell me what our relationship is. I'll be your reference if they call me. Yeah. Like, listen, employers are hiding shit all the time. All right. They're lying too. So I'm not saying like lie about your experience. I'm not saying like lie about your certifications or your degrees or anything like that. But when it calls to references, like sometimes we don't have the professional references that we need. We had a toxic work environment, or I had a really bigoted boss at one point, and like I argued with them a lot. I've been fired before. And so I don't want to use those references from the organization where I worked. Um, try to use if you have a coworker, that's great because they can speak to like working with you and what that was like. If not, like you can use a friend and you can tell them like use them more as a personal reference or whatever. You can do that and you can say it's a personal reference. You can do that or a mentor. Does anybody else have questions? I realize that that sounded kind of shady, but like I'm ruthless. Like, I want you to get your money and I want you to get your dream job. And like again, employers will try to screw you 9 ways until Sunday. So how do I explain that personal reference? My boss took it personally that I got sick and tired of that job. Katie, do you have any coworkers who would be willing to speak for you? Let me ask that question first. In this job or a last job, they don't have to be like, it doesn't have to be from that job. Do you have any former coworkers who would be okay to talk? They all left by now. One has cancer. I don't keep in touch with them. Arlene, I have to go. Will the recording be sent via email? Yes, I will send this out via email afterwards to everybody who attended. Yeah. Bye, Arlene. Have a good one. Okay, Katie. Um, it was mostly two-man show company. Um, I ask a lot about this because agency cannot help me because of this now. Oh. Um, well, if you don't have coworkers from that place or any former coworkers, and like try to get in touch with them, I would try to just like get in touch. I would try to like get in touch with any kind of former coworkers, and it doesn't have to be skeezy. Just be like, hey, it's been a long time, and I know we haven't talked, but we did work together, and like I didn't have the best relationship with X because I left, and I was just wondering if you would be willing to speak to my work ethic. And if not that, then like go with a friend. And like you don't need to put a title and you don't like just put under references if they ask you for references like um how would I handle this? Let me think. How have I handled this? Because I know I've done this before. I think I've gone with like general title like colleague, something like that. So you can like explain like colleague or whatever. Um like I don't describe anybody. So the most is that in a form they might ask for the title. So then I would definitely put just like colleague as their title or something like that. Or you can put their job title from their company. If you want to put the company you can, but like their company you can, and you can just say like it's somebody in the industry. I have used my ex-boyfriend a long time ago for reference, and he sounded like a complete idiot when they called him as my reference and I was with him. Don't use him, okay? Like don't use people who are idiots. Go through your friends and like figure out who would like be good at that, like be good at talking on the phone. That kind of thing. That's what I would do first and go based off of that. And like if they're not asking for like a ton of references, like don't give a ton of references. You don't have to. I believe we had someone sign on late and so they missed the recording or they missed like the majority of the presentation. So whoever you are, if you have questions, like let me know, but also I'll let you know that the recording's going to be sent out today, like later today. I will send out the recording. Holly, I haven't heard from you. You got questions, girl? Bueller? Any advice for negotiating with within organization limits? Can you explain that a bit more for me, Holly, like organizational limits? Because I'm not sure what you mean by that. I'm assuming it's like they can't pay above X or whatever. And like give me some flavor here. Like are you looking internally at your job? Like what's going on? Because this feels a little personal. In my last promotion, I interviewed into a higher position, but they had to change the job to something lower paying because it would have been too much of a promotion. Woo! I would have left, girl. That happened to Jen, that happened to you too. You guys should have left, honestly. To get even 2% higher than the standard, it took a year and a half to get approval. You got to leave. I would leave. If that's what they're doing, that shows that they don't value you, they don't respect you, and you're never getting what the pay you deserve. And that pay flatlining, that refusal to give you the raise, it'll follow you. At least in confidence. At least like here, you'll feel like shit about it. Katie says, yes, I agree, girl. Don't waste your precious life there. Yeah, it's time to go. It was time to go before. You got to go. But like, honestly, when that happens, you need to come down hard on that. And you just need to say no. Like, you need to say no to the promotion and the raise, because a lot of times organizations will try to get you with the title change, not give you the raise that you deserve. And you need to say, I'd rather not have either. Like, if I'm not getting a raise of X amount, if I'm not going to be making X amount, then I'm not going. And here's a stat that is staggering. People, let me find it because I had it pulled up and it blew my mind. I had a picture of it. I took a picture of the headline to come back to it because it really blew my mind. I was going to put it in the presentation. I couldn't really find a place. Yeah. Employees who stay in companies longer than 2 years get paid 50% less. Doesn't that blow your mind? Like, that's like everybody. That's why I tell everybody, you got to like plan to bounce after 2 years. Internal company raises, not a thing anymore. That's left over from our parents' generation. That doesn't happen anymore. The only way to get ahead in this industry is to jump every 2 to 3 years. Okay. And if you want to stay in your organization or your company and they're not going to give you the raise from you asking, go out, go job hunting, get an offer and bring it back to them and say, this is what somebody else values me at. What am I getting? Like, what are you going to do about it? Okay. Jen asks, how do you feel about in a situation where you are interviewing for an internal promotion, going out and getting other offers for the purpose of negotiation? I feel like I need to go get offers just to have a better chance of getting the money I want for my current company. Boom. Exactly that, Jen. Do it. And you know what? And that is actually a win-win scenario because either A, your company gives you the money that you want, or B, you get a better job somewhere. Yeah, that's the golden ticket right there. Here's the thing is that like we sell ourselves short. So much of this is just a reflection of our internal belief on what we are capable of making. Katie says that is exactly how it works. Even with my mortgage, my bank made me shop around to get a better rate, and then they wanted to match it. Screw that. I took my business elsewhere. Exactly. Katie, what are you doing on here? You sound like you know what you're talking about. I love it. I'm looking forward to our call on Monday. But like, listen, guys, like literally all of this just stems from in here. It stems from our own insecurity. We don't usually view ourselves accurately and our qualifications accurately because we're viewing things through shit-stained glasses. Just like some people are optimists and they view the world through rose-colored glasses, you're looking at your qualifications through shit stains, okay? The way your vision holders see you. So like friends who really believe in you, mentors who really believe in you, like they're seeing you accurately. The people who think the world of you, they're the ones who actually see your qualifications accurately. And I know you, Jen, and like you can write your check to go wherever the fuck you want. That's just the truth. And if they're not seeing that, then they're dumb, okay? And they don't deserve your genius. This is the kind of mojo you need, all right? You need to like hype yourself up. And that's again, like why working with a coach is good because like I hype you up because I am a vision holder for you. I see you as you are. And I don't see you through those shit stained glasses. I see you through these green ones. I'm sorry, I'll show myself out. Anybody else have questions? If you don't, yeah, Jen says our one-on-one session was helpful. Yay, good. Yeah, Jen, you got to write me a testimonial. when you feel ready after you got the job. Yeah, I will hype you up, guys. So one-on-one sessions, and you can book a one-on-one session with me anytime. If you don't have questions, I want you to say like literally type in that chat box, I'm good. If not, like I'm gonna sign up. Katie says, this is what we need. Thank you, Jesse. You're welcome, Katie. Yeah, everybody needs just like a hype woman, honestly, a hype man. That's what I try to be for everybody. I'm like, my whole goal is I want to change work culture in this country. And the thing is that it's not starting from the top down. It has to come from an employee revolution. We all need to start upping our standards, expecting work-life balance, expecting like the pay that we deserve, and expecting to like say no to things. Like the only way companies are going to get better is if their employees stop taking their bullshit. Like, I'm trying to lead an employee revolution one person at a time. Okay, so I think Katie's good. How's everyone else? Y'all good? I'm good. Kelly says, I'm good. Thanks for the info. Jen's good. Holly says this was helpful. Thanks. Okay. Secret iPhone user, are you good? I'm going to assume yes. All right, guys, I'm really glad I got to do this. Thank you so much for your patience and signing on, and thank you for your patience with the sound issues. I've got my fingers crossed that the sound will be good since I'm recording it on my end once it goes out. To get in touch with me, my email is coach.jesse with an IE .desilva, DeSilva @gmail.com. That's how you get in touch with me. And I also want to share that I'll be uploading this to Facebook. If you share this video on Facebook, I will give you a free 30-minute coaching session. Yep, that's true. Like not just a discovery call, like a coaching session for 30 minutes. So go ahead and let me know. I'm really excited about this, and I will talk to you guys soon. Have a good one, friends. Bye.